Well, I guess we probably should get started. I don't know does anybody know about what Tony Allegretti's schedule was? Did he get back or anything to anyone?
I don't know, but when I spoke to Lamont before he left, he didn't think Tony was available, Tony Allegretti.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Great. Well, let's go ahead and get started. This is a regular meeting of the Urbana Civilian Police Review Board. I'm sitting in for Chair Ricardo Diaz for this meeting. And so expect me to fumble something as we move forward here. This is a meeting for a hearing, and so we're going to have a short public session and then go into closed, just so you know. And I was unable to find an agenda, but does everybody agree with whatever the agenda said?
If you like, I can run one down to you.
That might be helpful. Or can you email me one?
Be easier to run it downstairs.
Sure. All right. All right.
Coming your way.
Okay. Well, first of all, I guess we'll call for a quorum here. So if we can take a roll call.
Absolutely. Tony Allegretti, Ricardo Diaz, Scott Dossett.
Here.
Katrina Kindle.
Here.
Tony Rice.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay. Okay, great. I was going to ask whether we had a new member that was coming or already here, but you confirm a quorum, so that's good enough for me. Moving on to the agenda. Does anybody have any comments or questions about the agenda, Katrina or Mr. Rice? Okay.
I do not.
Okay, I don't think we need to move approval. Acclamation is fine on that. I'm gonna, if you don't say no, Carol, I'm just gonna proceed. So, all right. So we have public comment that we can have, and I already have one person that's raised their hand. And so we can start, we have two people that have raised our hand, a 4-minute period. And I believe Andrew is running the clock now. Is that correct, City of Urbana? I don't need to worry about the clock. Okay, and will you be actually responding to the raised hands, or do I need to take action from here?
I will not be responding to the raised hands.
Okay, so I highlight those. Click on them and they start.
Oh, I could let them in. Is that's what you meant?
Yes. Yeah. We have public comment, 4 minutes apiece. Whoever's raised hands, and the first one that I saw was Grace Wilkin.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. My name is Grace Wilkin. I'm the representative for Urbana Ward 6, and just wanted to call in tonight. I know you're mostly in closed session, but just say that as a new council member, I'm definitely interested in our conversations and how we work together. I know that there's some things changing and figuring out the role of CPRB in the future, and that there's other conversations down the road. But I'm definitely here for communication and appreciate the work that you guys are doing, and definitely want to work together towards community safety and police accountability. So thank you, and I'd love to be in touch.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Grace. And the next person I saw that raised their hand was Dennis Roberts. Unmute, Dennis. Okay, there you go.
Yes, hello. Thank you for thank you for allowing me to speak. My purpose in attending the CPRB meeting tonight is to acknowledge the departure of a retiring board member, Scotty Dossett. Scotty has given to the community through the years his participation on the board, which has been very positive and important to the community. During Scotty's 13.5 years on the Civilian Police Review Board, I believe he's been a voice of dedication, understanding, and wisdom. During numerous CPRB meetings, he has actively helped the board to refine its goals and policies, offering his perspective on crucial decisions initiating motions, and drafting summary text. He has been very vocal on the commission and reminded the board of its obligation to make a report of the CPR's work available to the city council and the general public on a timely basis. He has participated in reviews of the appropriateness of taser displays and discharge, helped evaluate current police policy and practice, and participated in numerous complaint hearings, such as the one that's going to be happening this evening, which have come before the CPRB board and have been placed by Urbana's citizens. All of this occurred during multiple turnovers of administrative staff that have been assigned to the board, vacancies in the position of the Urbana Human Resource Officer, and other delays. Scotty has dedicated hours of unpaid volunteer service to the community, which has often been difficult and controversial. And as a city council member, now past city council member retired, as a neighbor and a friend, I'd like to make this public acknowledgement of his long public service and I think true compassion for those whose cases have come before the commission. So Scotty, you're retiring. I think you've done a great job. And I just want to say that this has certainly been something I've observed, and I've also counted you as a personal friend. So thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome, Dennis.
Okay, cool.
Okay. All right. And I saw another hand raised there, I think. Tracy Chong is next. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, CPRB. Very quick note tonight. I just wanted to say that when you guys started doing the appeal hearings, you guys, when you were voting to make the your decision at the end, you guys used to discuss like why you made the decision, give your opinions. I thought that was really useful. And in the last few meetings, okay, maybe there was some discussion last week because of the tie, but in the last few meetings, there wasn't really much discussion aside from the voting. So because most of the stuff is discussed in closed session, I think it would be helpful if and informative for the public if you guys like told us like why you voted you would vote a certain way, like what you thought was right or wrong, you know, just so that it's not like a big black box. Like we see the start of the meeting and then we don't know what's going on throughout the whole meeting because it's in closed session, and then we hear, yeah, I agree, I disagree. We don't know what UPD said, we don't know what the complainant said. It's not like we want personal details, but just to know like why you're voting one way or another. So yeah, if you guys could do that, it would be very much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that comment, Tracy. Of course, you know, by the time we get back, we've been hashing this stuff out for 3 hours. And so that's a really, really important and a good reminder. I really, really appreciate that because we need to try to slow down and take a little bit more time. So thank you so much for that comment. I see no other hands, so I'm going to, one just popped up. We have Christopher Hansen wishing to make a comment.
Hey there, can you hear me okay?
Hi, Chris, yes.
Hey, so I guess I'll say I wish I could agree with Dennis Roberts' assessment that the CPRB was as fruitful as he claimed. Just remind everyone, I think things are improving a little bit, but kind of a year ago when I and other residents started paying close attention, I mean, the CPRB hadn't submitted their required reports for something like 6 or 7 years. They hadn't met in something like almost a year at a point, and they weren't even getting copies of complaints that were submitted to the police department. So I just can't agree that things were quite as fruitful as they were just made out to be. As a reminder, the CPRB is still failing to follow their ordinance. We're making some progress there, but just as an easy example, it seems the CPRB is still insistent that they're not going to review all taser usages. That's something that's written in your ordinance. You can't just vote not to do that. Maybe you shouldn't be reviewing all taser instances. I don't know. But probably the city council should decide that rather than the CPRB just kind of canceling out their own ordinance. This is not a legislative body. You guys should be making recommendations for sure to the council, but you can't just kind of undo your ordinance whenever you please. So the other comment I want to make, and I'm glad there's a sitting council member here to hear these things, is one of the biggest, I think, recent problems I think that's come to my attention with the way complaints are handled is the complainant is not allowed to see the complete results of their complaint. If you submit a police complaint, if you submit a complaint against an officer or police officers, what's supposed to happen is that the police department is supposed to review that and write up some kind of report. What's happening is if they do that, and they don't always do that, the complainant is not allowed to see that complete report. First of all, you won't get a copy of it at all unless you submit a FOIA request or if you go into an appeals hearing. And even when you do get a copy of it, it's going to be redacted. And they're going to redact the most important and most meaningful portions of those reports. So as a complainant or as an appellant, you don't even know exactly what entirely the police have said about your complaint. And my experience in dealing with the city and the police department is those portions that the police department decides to redact are the most important parts of what they've written. And I've even experienced some instances where the things they've redacted are actually significantly retaliatory in nature to the complainant. So while things aren't quite as much of a train wreck as they were a year or two ago right now, I would urge caution to anyone considering submitting a complaint because there's still a strong retaliatory component. And you won't even get to see the full investigation report from your own complaint. So you won't really know what happened anyways. So there's a lot of work to do here. I wish, recently the CPRB has essentially, the CPRB members has agreed with that aspect that the complainant shouldn't be allowed to see the whole report. I wish they would, I would urge them to change their posture on that. I just can't believe that anyone's going to believe this will work when the complainant or the appellant isn't allowed to see their own complaint response. It's just silly. So, all right, thanks.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, don't see any more hands. Going once, going twice, going 3 times. All right, we've finished agenda item 3, public input. Need a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of conducting an appeals hearing, specifically on case AP 20-14.
I make a motion that we go into closed sessions.
You may be muted, Tony.
I second.
Okay, we got a second motion and a second.
Yep.
All righty, roll call.
Scott Dossett.
Here.
It would be a yes or no vote.
Yes.
Trina Kindle.
Yes.
Tony Rice.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, so just to let people know who are attending, we will be away for an unknown period of time doing the hearing, and then we'll come back for a vote and perhaps some discussion. All right, well, Tony, Carol, Katrina, and the appellant, we will see you on the other side. Watch your email for the Zoom. All right, welcome back, everyone. This is a special meeting of the Urbana Civilian Police Review Board. We've just been in closed session to deal with a single complaint case, AP 20-14, based on complaint number 2020-R7. I guess I will ask for a motion in terms of how to proceed based on the sustained, unsustained model that we have? And
Scott?
yes.
Scott, you need a motion to reconvene in public session first.
Oh, okay. Well,
make
can I
a-
have a motion to reconvene?
I make a motion that we reconvene in public session.
Tony, you were muted.
I'll second.
Shall I call the roll? Scott Dossett.
Here.
I know you really mean yes, right?
Well, no, I mean, well, yes, I do mean yes. I always mean yes.
Okay, Katrina Kendall,
Yes.
Tony Rice,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you, Carol. That wasn't clear. We actually did have our own little motion in closed session, but I guess that's not what you needed. So, all righty. So we have reconvened, and I've already demonstrated or noted the case numbers that we're dealing with here. So appreciate the appellant and staff's time as we cogitated on the case. Would someone like to make a motion about how to proceed?
I make a motion to sustain the findings of AP 20-14.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Any discussion about the motion? Tony or Katrina? Do we want to?
No.
Okay. All right, well, for the purposes of comments before, this is essentially a case based on the merit / legality / wisdom of the notarization requirement for CPRB complaints. And I mean, I can state it as my position that past practice of complaint submission, including prior complaints by the appellant in this case, was to require notarization of the complaint form. In fact, during COVID, it did take 17 days for HR to work back to the complainant in the original complaint that the complaint itself was not notarized and try to straighten that out. There's documentation that HR did offer, notarize this and send it back type thing. So that's kind of where we're at with this. There's a contention that the notarization requirement itself is somehow illegal or inappropriate. I don't sustain that objection, given the past practice of 11 or 12 years of notarization of complaints. If things could have happened quicker, but this was about the middle of April and we were still trying to respond to a lockdown. So that's all the discussion I really had.
There was an email exchange too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Kind of, showing that, we received it, and based on how we received it, there was a notarization required. And from there, it kind of just lingered out. So complainant knew that there was notarization required. Later on down the line, yes, the notary requirement was waived per se, but up to that point, that was the requirement. And I'm totally in agreement with that.
Katrina, anything you care to add before I call for a vote?
No, just exactly what Tony said, about the email, and just some clarity on the process that was made in the complainant. And so it didn't move to the proper channels based on it not being notarized. So I did ask for clarity in that. So I agree with the process of what both you and Tony had said.
All righty, so I guess you call us for a vote, Carol?
All right, Scott Dossett,
Yes.
Katrina Kindle,
Yes,
Tony Rice.
Yes.
All right.
Motion
Thank you.
passes.
All right, thank you so much. Would note to the public that our next regular meeting is May the 26th at 5:30. That will be probably my last meeting here. Anybody else have any announcements before we go? Tony, Katrina?
No, I'm ready for warmer weather.
All right, can I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting for the evening.
I second.
Carol, can you call roll?
I can. Scott Dossett,
Yes.
Katrina Kindle,
Yes.
Tony Rice.
Yes.
All right, public, staff, and our person helping out with UPTV. I'm going to end this meeting here. Thank you so much for your participation. And again, next meeting is May the 26th at 5:30 p.m. Bye-bye.
Bye.